Most media turns sex work into either tragedy bait or a glam fantasy. So how is it that the Apothecary Diaries, a historical setting anime, treats this topic better than journalism? Taboo topics are hard to talk about, from moral panic to glossy aesthetics. Even the most serious coverage struggles to stay grounded. But this anime, somehow it gets it right. So let's talk about the Apothecary Diaries, specifically the Verdigris House, and how it handles not just one, but many complicated topics out there with honesty, restraint, and surprising grace. I wasn't even planning to make this video honestly, but here we are. There's a bit of story behind this video. It started when I was researching for a YouTube short, just trying to find a modern equivalent to the Verdigris House. Yes, I found what I was looking for in exchange of what's left of my innocence. Let me tell you, what we're going to talk about, it's wild, and also often framed in a really polarizing way. It's either framed like it's the end of morality, or worse, like you're in the sequel of Pretty Woman. But here's the part that got me. Somehow, the Apothecary Diaries, a freaking anime, manages to approach the topic with more grace, balance, honesty than most of those quote-unquote deep dive articles. So I just had to talk about it. How the Apothecary Diaries frames taboo topics completely different and better from how the media usually does. That framing starts with the Verdigris House itself. In the Apothecary Diaries, the Verdigris House is introduced as a high-class brothel, but it's so much more than that. It's an institution, it works systematically, it has rules, hierarchy, and most important of all, it has a strong reputation. It stands as an important place within the social structure in the Apothecary Diaries universe. It's also Maomao's home turf. She didn't just live there, she grew up in it, learned from it, and was shaped by it. It's where she picked up her clinical attachment, her survival instincts, and a whole lot of street smart knowledge. Her connection to the Verdigris House isn't just personal, it's foundational. It explains how she can face the inner court with a straight face while everyone else is freaking out. And the way Maomao talks about the people around the Verdigris House, that's also something we'll come back to later. Before we dive into the real-world media chaos, let's highlight something the Apothecary Diaries nails early on. And through that, I think you can imagine where this video is going. So the first question is, why people get into that life in the first place? In the Apothecary Diaries, the answer is, it's complicated. Some women are born in the industry. It's the world they know. Then they continue as a servant girl and then become a courtesan themselves. And for many, it's survival. Maybe they're in debts, maybe they lack other skills. There are many cases, but whatever the case, the show acknowledges that there are systems and reasons. It's not entirely about survival, but it's also not just a get-rich-quick plan. It's somewhere in between. It's complicated. Now that we've seen how the anime frames it, here's a highlight speed breakdown of some real-world parallels of courtesans. You'll see why it matters soon enough. The most one-on-one comparison to courtesans are VIP escorts. Experience first, status-driven, super curated, and it's often tagged as modern courtesan. Other similar profession or industry for my community that are more privy to Japanese culture, Japanese host or hostess culture can also fit here, although there are some differences, but the most booming one is sugar culture. So, how does the media frame these three worlds? Let's just say that they're not aiming for the ones. If you're hoping for something balanced, yeah, good luck. Take this 2016 Vanity Fair article. It's an old article, but bear with me here. The tone is all glam. There's a picture of a woman in a red dress with jewels, and the conversation revolves around that. The rich tech bros, the branded stuff they get, their Amazon wish list, and not just for necessities. No joke, one of them wanted a blender, not the one that you use for makeup, this one. Sure, the article throws in a tiny nod to the hardship behind it all, maybe 5 to 10%, but then it snaps right back to designer bags, the vacation, landing a whale. The takeaway is so simple. Greed. That's the dominant narrative. What a holistic view of a new economy, and this sadly isn't an outlier. Although this piece is an old one, these kinds of pieces are everywhere. And this is why I mentioned sugar culture earlier, because especially when related to that, we're just getting started. I honestly was speechless when I started digging into this. In one world, girls train in dance, poetry, etiquette to win over a nobleman, and yet here in the real world, it's like you only need a webcam to get someone to buy you a Chanel. Oh god. Remember that Vanity Fair article we talked about earlier? Yeah, that's one example of what I call the boss baby glow up epidemic. Let me explain, okay? One thing that for me at least very baffling early on is that from dozens of articles I read with many variations of headlines is how typical it is. It often starts with a glam location. We were talking to her in this fancy restaurant in Ritz or something. And then it always continued to, you guess it, the money talk. And the money talk, it doesn't stop. Dinner at the wrist, blender, I can build my own house now. Okay, what are you trying to tell me here? What are you implying to me? These articles, they treat it like a glow-up montage or something, but the biggest mistake is, it's presented like it has zero risk. You don't even need to go to bed. In my experience, they're really generous. It's ridiculous how one-sided it is. I thought I was being a boomer, that this lifestyle is just a casual Tuesday right now because it gets worse. There are even like sugar baby boot camps. And there was this really booming headline when one sugar dating app gave free membership to anyone with a .edu email. Oh god. But fortunately, no, I'm sane. Because after some digging, apparently the extreme power play still happens to some people, and some clients ask for so much without increasing the pay, and then after they pay, they literally feel like they own the other party. So much for don't even need to go to the bed. Like in this one fortunately sane article from The Sun, when they say the good part is only when they give you money and then leave you alone. Very telling. Meanwhile, in the Apothecary Diaries, the show makes one thing really clear. Living as a courtesan is a high-stakes game. There are rules, strict rules, and when you fall, you don't just fall, you get crushed. Take episode 23, it's where the anime finally reveals the story of Lakan and Fengshen. Fengshen was a top courtesan, and then she got pregnant, and just like that, her value as a human being is vanished. It literally broke her mentally and physically. Financially, man, come on. Sure, the Apothecary Diaries show the fancier part of it. The three sisters, they get special privileges in the Verdigris House, but they also show that behind all the fireworks, it's still a really nasty business. So far we've looked at how the media glamorizes sugar baby culture, but let's shift focus to something else. First, to the like button there, just press it, and second, to something trickier. Host and hostess culture. It's a world eerily similar to the Verdigris House. Ranks, emotional intimacy, pouring drinks, flattery, except, unlike courtesans, trading sex is technically illegal. Not that it doesn't happen off the books, but you understand. But how the media portrays them compared to the sugar baby culture, it's day and night. Especially after what happened in 2022. After a string of cases post-COVID lockdown involving hosts causing women into debt and, well, basically, media coverage went full dark side. Recent articles, tons of them like this one from The Guardian, painted hosts as villains, leading clients into ruin. It's horrifying, and as for me, there's no universe where I'd be like, okay, seeing someone dragged into that system. But here's the thing, so I work in a marketing agency, and in my workplace, we have a name for how the internet reacts to stories like this. We call it the moral scorecard. Is it empowering? Is it shameful? Should we feel sorry for them? Or maybe cheer for their hustle? You see what I'm getting at here? It leverages the fact that the internet does polarization. It's always good or evil. And if you're speaking about something more complicated, you don't exist. And funnily, if you compare it with the sugar culture, endless girl boss flexing, TikTok bragging, even like entrepreneurial spins because apparently having multiple sugar daddies is diversifying your income. But with host culture, it flips. Suddenly, they're all predators, scammers. Not that it's fake news or anything, but it gets polarizing so fast. There's real harm here. There are victims. But labeling every single host as a professional manipulator, or even the opposite, a hero of emotional labor, that's just lazy. Or no, not lazy. It's tactical. Most of us don't know how much of the industry is exploitative. Maybe most of them. I don't know. I'm only a stupid guy who likes to rant. But what we do know is the internet loves painting everything into colors. And that's also why the Apothecary Diaries feels so refreshing. Maomao's recollection about the courtesans are not about right or wrong of courtesanship. She simply observed what they have to deal with. When they use toxic lead makeup, develop somnambulism. For example, the three princesses. Most of her stories about them doesn't even lump them together as the three princesses. For Maomao, they're the three sisters. It's always like this. This is Mei Mei. This is Pyrin. That's Joka, crying for more screen time. More Joka screen time, please! Because that's how a story can avoid moral scorecarding, by showing that these women have full lives, not just best courtesans stamped on their foreheads. There are some examples of this. Pyrin, for example, would be a great mother. Mei Mei's specialty is more intellectual. Pyrin's future that she might claim the madam position. Lee Haku's silly love for Pyrin. Yeah, they show Pyrin often. And the Apothecary Diaries does this everywhere. Even, for example, when Maomao realizes that Lady Li Shu, this girl, became a mother-in-law when she was 9, she goes all, oh my god, that's so bad. Shivers a bit, and then moves on to better stories. Because there are better stories. And of course, the setting also helps. I'm no historian or anything, but just through a little reasoning, I can clearly see that, well, those things are probably more common in the past. And of course, there are other more obvious reasons why the Apothecary Diaries can speak about those topics more. It's a fiction, and also it's not the main thing. Yeah, there are lots of things. And honestly, over the years, media has gotten better about this too. There are more nuances today in this topic compared to like before 2021. Well, maybe because now they have TikTok to throw rocks at instead.